Good morning, everybody. I toast to you and all you do. Let me just get coffee everywhere. I hope that you're having a fantastic day today. And I have to start off by saying I'm sorry this video is coming out the day of the dark moon. I was going to make it yesterday and at least try to get it out the day before the moon. But I had a very interesting conversation that sparked some curiosity, and I had to go dig deeper, and I learned some things. And before I made another video, I have to clear some things up, and we have to discuss a few things. So I talk a lot about retrogrades, and specifically I have been talking about the North Node being in retrograde. And I learned yesterday that it's always in retrograde. The nodes move backwards through the zodiac, and therefore they are always in retrograde. They do go direct for a little less than like 72 hours a month. However, in order to see that directness, you have to do a very exact calculation. So let's talk about what the lunar nodes are. So we have the north and south lunar nodes, and these are not physical entities. This isn't a planet or a comet or an asteroid or anything like that. These are places in orbits. Okay, so it's an elliptical path. So the Earth is always spinning. The moon is always spinning. We're always spinning on this orbit. The magnetic pull of our planets and the moon and the way that we orbit at an angle, and the moon orbits around the Earth kind of at an angle. And so it's not like a flat plane that these things are happening on. And in this three-dimensional plane that all of this is happening on, there's also the celestial elliptical path, which is where the sun sits in orientation to your place on the earth. So one of the things you have to keep in mind when we're talking about astrological measurements is that they are dependent on your place, seeing the sun, moon, earth, planets, stars, all of that from this observation place on the earth. That's why your place of birth or the place you're standing is important. That's why, like, when you see someone who does their chart in Great Britain, their houses are in a different place than they are to ours, because they're sitting at a different place in orientation to this mathematical mathematical interaction between all of these planetary beings. So you have to have two things in mind when you're thinking about these things. One, we are spinning around the sun. However, our observation of the sun's path can be drawn from where we are observing it. Like, we can see the sun go across the sky. We can mark its movement on Earth, like on a two-dimensional plane, and it looks much different than it does on a three-dimensional plane. So if we were to mark, like, say, let's go back to one of the solar, we don't have a lot of these type of solar structures left. There's one in Australia, but when you mark the sun's rotation, like with the shadow of the sun, you get this like figure eight kind of thing. And so if we're looking at that, and then we're also looking and marking the moon's movement, you will see there are two places where these things intersect. So I have a drawing here, kind of make it a little more, I got a couple drawings on here. Okay, so we are Earth, where it says Earth, and then this is the moon's orbit, and then this is the sun's, and you see these 2 points where they intersect. So that would be the north and the south node. So because this is not like a, look, there's the moon, and you can't measure this, or you can't see this point, we just generally recognize that they go in well, I learned that it is generally recognized that they go in retrograde through the zodiac signs. And if you calculate it down to the minute little decimal, and you go all the way out, and you don't estimate, and you don't round, and you don't make any averages, and you're calculating this measurement, it does go direct, but it only happens for less than 72 hours a month, I have read. Now, I can't say that with 100% certainty, I have not calculated these numbers. Maybe one day I will sit down and do that. I'll out to the zillionth whatever number. So see the true orbit. Um, so the north and south node are always are always moving in retrograde. So, with that said, a lot of the importance of what's happening with the node and Pluto and this grand T square has to do more with the retrograde of Pluto than it does with the retrograde of the north and south node. I have not yet found a good calculator, astrological calculator online that shows the direct / retrograde movement of the nodes. It seems to be just generally concluded that they're always in retrograde. So, I have to just say that. And since we're talking about these places in our astrological charts that are not real things, like not physical things, let's also take a moment to talk about Lilith, the black moon Lilith, and what this represents. So, when we talk about the moon's orbit, it makes an oval around the Earth, and Earth doesn't sit in the middle. So we actually, see, I've got another little drawing here. So we have Earth, there's the moon's orbit, that one's Earth, and this is Lilith. So it is the void that would make the oval orbit make more sense, I guess, in a way. Like if we want to, like it offsets the balance of the Earth and this orbit. So it again is another place that we don't see, but it is there. It's calculated. It's something it's the void. So it is the representation. The void is the womb of the great mother goddess. So it is this divine feminine oh, my brain just lost the word. Wait, I bet I have it written down right here. Let's see. It is primordial. That's the word. Just way out of my brain. So this is this primordial energy, the void where, I talk about this in other videos, where darkness is not the scary thing, but it is a place of birth. It is where all things spark from. And that's what this energy, so this is like the void in which life came out of, and the two opposites of these existences of earth and darkness and nothingness. So that's what Lilith is. So when we say that the moon is conjunct with Lilith, it also means that the moon is at, I'm probably going to get these backwards. So when we have a supermoon, the moon is very, very close. And it's the one with the A. I don't know. We'll try that again in another video. Perigee, apogee, something like that. So when we say that the moon is conjunct with Lilith, it really means that the moon is as far away as it can be from Earth. And therefore, it is returning in its cycle, like in its orbit, it's returning to that nothingness. It's returning to the void. It's coming out renewed. So currently, this is where the moon is sitting in this dark moon. So it's even extra dark. So it is very much this primordial rebirthing, rejuvenation, restorative energy. It sparks a lot of new ideas. This is a great time to really turn inward and allow that darkness to spark something. So there are those places that are not actual things. And now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about the dark moon happening today. So we have the dark moon. It is on August 16th. It is in Leo, and there are a lot of planets are in retrograde right now. We have Pluto, Neptune, Saturn, Eris, Chiron, and Venus, all in retrograde. Mercury is going to go into retrograde soon, and I also think that Uranus is going to go into retrograde soon, so it's going to be a very reflective, very questioning time. I feel like a lot of people are in this place where they're like making really big decisions. They are really seeing things from a different perspective, and changes are happening. And so a lot of this retrograde is really encouraging that, and this Pluto square with the nodes is really rattling that foundation. It's bringing up dirty secrets. It's like, hey, let's see what needs to come up to the surface so that we can move forward and heal. We also, so this month, or this moon's chart is really interconnected. So here, I had to draw it several times, so it ended up being on a smaller piece of paper. But here is the chart. It is just really triangular. I just see a lot of trines. And this is a really positive energy. Trines are beneficial. They tend to be more positive. We do have a couple squares. However, two of those squares make a trine, which is an interesting, see, we got the squares and then the whatever. Anyways, so the conjunctions that are happening right now are the Sun, Moon, and Venus are conjunct. Peleus, Mercury, and Mars are conjunct. Chiron, Eris, and the North Node are conjunct. The South Node, Ceres, and Haumea are conjunct. And they all seem to be interacting with each other. So that's where we have all of those trines, is that those conjunctions are then trine with other conjunctions. So the only planet that's kind of left out of all of this is Saturn, which is in retrograde, which is really just, I don't think it needs any help in what it's doing. That mundane, questioning of the mundane, questioning of your choices, questioning of your routine, really rethinking what it is that you do every day and how you interact with the world. That's all coming from Saturn's retrograde, and it is just trudging along. And the other planets don't need to be like, this is, so I see and feel a lot of people are anxious about this. And that's okay. This is a big change. So with the Saturn retrograde, we have a lot of other things that are happening over here. And they are also pointing to the same kind of like, let's do healing things. Let's really think about where we come from and where we're going and what we want that to look like. So the first thing we have is the Sun, Moon, and Venus square to Uranus and Jupiter. So this is, sorry, it wasn't the, it's really funny, that wasn't the first thing on my notes. So it just happens to be the thing on the top. Here we go. So this is really about standing in your authority. So we have the Sun, Moon, and Venus conjunct, which is a really loving, beautiful energy. It is reminding you to love yourself, to be authentic, to be true to yourself, to I was distracted by Venus is in retrograde. So that is softened a lot by this conjunction. The moon and the sun come in and they really kind of soften that retrograde, and you might have been questioning your relationships, thinking about past relationships, calling those exes, talking about rekindling friendships. And this kind of softens all of those questions, and it says it's okay to just love yourself. It's okay to be kind and pure. And with the sun and moon and all of this happening in Leo, it's really encouraging you to find that confidence in like your inner child and your youthfulness, and love that person and yourself. Being square to Mercury and Jupiter, which is a very much expanding, almost explosive energy that can be kind of disruptive, big changes, sudden, unexpected things happening. But all together, it really brings in this like standing in your authority, knowing who you are, loving that person, and allowing these disruptive things, this change, to be healthy and to come out like, all right, this big thing happened, and now I'm ready to step forward and heal and do better and be aware that it's okay to be different, it's okay to be who I am. This can also really call you to go out and explore. So you might feel like, hey, I need to go do something new, and that might be your disruptive or eruptive event. Maybe you're like, I need to go whitewater rafting. You go down the mountain and just do something new and different to explore life and to have an experience that's going to change you from the inside out and really help you grow and manifest these big changes that are happening. So we have Pluto retrograde still, and it is still square in this Grand T card. These are like slow moving energies. It's so the one, the further away we get from the Earth and the Sun, the slower that they move. So way out there on Pluto, it's going to move pretty slowly. The north nodes are, like I said, a weird mathematical thing. So they move pretty slowly. But this is continuing to break down and rattle this foundation and to bring up these truths and to remind us of our passions and like where that comes from, and that we have this eternal deep passion that we can make change, we can do better things, we can heal, we can move forward and have a good foundation. We just have to remove these little things here or there that aren't working, that don't fit in, that we no longer need. It also is highly influenced by some smaller planetary bodies. So the North Node is conjunct with Eris and Chiron, which are both in retrograde. So Eris in retrograde is really hollering loud, making a big scene, and causing this like eruptive, burning fire to call out and do what's right. Right in our community, right by yourself, right by your family, and not just right, but like righteously right. Chiron is calling for you to heal, especially heal if you have generational problems. Heal if you are, you have problems from childhood. Heal that inner child. A lot with this Leo moon that is really calling on that inner child. So this is a time for healing. And in retrograde, it's like, it can be hard because it brings all of those things up to the surface, and it says, here are the things that you need to know. I got a reading yesterday, one of the better readings that I've ever gotten. She's very intuitive, but she brought up things that in that moment I couldn't even really place, but then after I was done and then I went and thought about it and did a little meditation, I was like, oh my goodness, these are moments that I didn't think had made such big change. And so Chiron is calling to that. It's like saying, look back through your childhood and look through those moments. Look back through the generations. Look back through your past lives and see these things they might have been little tiny things, or maybe it was a medium-sized thing or something that you didn't think caused this chain of events, and then allow yourself to heal from that moment. Don't take responsibility. Forgive yourself. Forgive the people around you. See what you needed to learn from that situation and really heal and move forward. That's what this conjunction, specifically this North Node, Chiron, and Eris conjunction, is calling you to do. On the other side of that, we have this beautiful bursting forth. This is like a cornucopia overflowing with abundance. We have the South Node conjunct with Haumea and Ceres. Now, these are both energies of great abundance. Ceres is this grain goddess. She is the energy that, fertilizes our fields and helps us bring in a healthy crop. Haumea can bring a crop out of nothing. And so together with the South Node, this birthing new energy, it is very like even though we have this rocky healing and a lot of big truths coming up, there is this beautiful, abundant energy. Just like Venus conjoining with the sun and the moon softens that energy and really brings about this like loving, fruitful, giving energy that's like, this is okay. It is okay to allow yourself to heal. It's okay to make these changes. It's okay. You have the support that you need, even though it seems a little intimidating. Um, I really get this envisionment of like there's this door opening to the other side, and there's this nurturing, beautiful, loving, golden energy of Sirius and Haumea, just like, I mean, open arms, reaching out, like, come on over. And it's okay. And we have to be able to heal. And there's this push from Chiron and Eris that, they're on this other side. They're like behind you and they're pushing you forward. They're like, it is okay to heal these wounds. It is okay to process this and to let go, to move past those coping mechanisms, let go of all of the things that you thought you had to carry, and heal and move forward with confidence. And so these conjunctions really soften this square with Pluto. And it's okay. I mean, I guess up here in the South Node, it's softened. Down here, it's like big, swift kick in the butt. Let's just do this. So we have this powerful push and this gentle healing kind of coming together to balance this Pluto retrograde energy, which just, oh my goodness, the things happening in governments is crazy to me. And that Pluto has a lot to do with like that. We're going to shake up this foundation, and it's pretty crazy. So another big interacting thing that we have going on with Pluto is that Pluto is trine to Jupiter conjunct Uranus, which is a very expanding, eruptive energy, and Mars, Pallas, and Mercury. So Mars and Pallas have been conjunct for a while. They're just keep trotting along in this great conjunction. They're relatively close to each other in orbit. So I imagine this is going to continue for a while. Eventually, Pallas will get left behind, and but they together bring this very like warrior, noble knight is really the way that I see them presenting. I mean, like when you really envision that perfect knight, Joan of Arc, someone who just steps up and is like, I will be the leader no matter what, and we're going to do the right thing, and we're going to step forward with courageous, brave, noble energy and achieve these goals that we're looking for. I mean, just really motivating. Mercury comes in there and adds this quick, swift, communicative energy that, helps you to communicate with the gods, helps you to better communicate with others, but it really also gives you that motivation to learn and act on what you've learned. And so that being trine to also Uranus and Jupiter, so this is making this grand trine. And all together, this is really a creative, flowing, beautiful energy that's really helping you manifest your dreams. Like Pluto brings in this, it's like reminding you of what your deep motivations are, what your passions are, where you're coming from. And it's making you question, are you following those passions and what you really want to do? Or are you doing what other people want you to do? Or are you not doing anything at all? What are you doing? And so in this grand trine, it is really telling you to manifest that deep, passionate energy and be true to yourself. It's motivating you to make big changes with that Pluto or that Uranus Jupiter conjunction. Just big changes, eruptive, like shake it up. You can do this, and it's time to make those steps. Like if you were like, I'm going to start a new business, do it. Like just get something done, set a date, pick a thing, start manifesting that energy, and you'll find it is easier than you thought it was going to be. It's really working. Things will flow towards you. Your energy will expand, and you're going to get it done and really be able to manifest these changes that are going to help you be, on that best foot for this new path. There will also be some big truths I feel like revealed with that Pluto Jupiter trine, they're going to be more positive than a lot of the ones that we've been seeing and interacting with. I think that it's going to be something that's going to help you instead of something that's like, I mean, I needed to know that, but I could have really gone my whole life without knowing that kind of things that have been coming up. Sorry, I was just thinking about things happening in our government again. It's crazy. So we have big truths, big expanding energy, manifesting this great thing, philanthropy, philosophy. I see these things really expanding. You have these opportunities in front of you, so take them. They're also all in earth signs. So we currently have 5 planets in fixed signs and 7 planets in fire signs. So these are the only ones that aren't in fire signs. It's like the earth and fire in this dark moon energy. So this is going to be a really this isn't like a whimsical change. This is going to be a physical change, like new business, new house, new something, new place, new adventure, that makes a big change in your everything, your foundation. So Mars, Mercury, and Pales are also conjunct from Neptune. So Neptune always brings in that higher perspective, a different way, a spiritual energy, and being at opposition, not conjunction, being at opposition to Mars, it is really bringing out that spiritual warrior in this conjunction with Mars. It is also can be a little, I guess it's more softening of this motivating energy. I feel like with Mercury, Pales, and Mars all really it's really motivating. It's really probably it's making me anxious. Like I need to do something. And Neptune is like, it's okay to slow down. It's okay to kind of let go of some of that and relax. See things from a harmonious spiritual side. Get a little balance. Do something fun. And allow yourself to relax so that you can get the flow of information and you can hear your intuition. And so it's kind of softening that really powerful, motivating energy that we have going on. We have Neptune also sextile to Pluto. So this again is bringing up these deep truths. It is again, we've talked about this before, these are slow moving planets, so this sextile is continuing. This sextile is really good at helping you to see both sides of the coin. It helps you to get that Neptune higher perspective and that deep intuition from Pluto and kind of put them together. Being in retrograde, it's really telling you, are you listening to the information that you're getting? If you are getting information from your spirit guides or from the world or even from a book or whatever, you're getting this information. This information has been brought to you and you should be listening to it. You're also being encouraged from Pluto in this deep eternal passion. Are you listening to those two things, or are you putting up your blinders and you're like, I don't want anything to do with this? Are you just listening to what everybody else is telling you? We have crazy mob mentality things going on, community psychoses. Tourette's is on a crazy rise around the world, which is it's just crazy to me. So, are you being led by others, external sources, or are you listening to your intuition? Are you listening to the information that you're getting from the universe? And so this sextile is going to continue to ask you that. I think those that are more psychically connected are probably having weird experiences that they can't explain, like knowing random people's names or being able to, oh, I better take this left because there's going to be an accident, and then seeing on the news that there was an accident. more of those kind of things are happening, and they're really rattling people. They're like, oh my goodness, did I really see this happening? Is that really? And yes, it is. We are more and more connected to the collective conscience. The less and less we have to do in order to survive on a daily basis, the more we have the ability to explore. And your subconscious mind is exploring your spiritual connection to the ether and the chaos and all the existence of this collective conscious. And it is doing those things while you're sitting here watching this video. It's doing those things while you're sleeping. It's doing those things all the time. And since you're not focused on surviving, most of us are, our survival is much easier than it used to be. So as we evolve as a species, we do get to this more spiritual place. And as we're stepping into that place, especially with Pluto making this transition, it'll leave Sagittarius again, and it'll go back into, or it'll leave Capricorn again, and it'll go back into Aquarius. And as it goes through Aquarius, it's really going to cause a big social change. So as we're preparing for that social change, we're getting this like download from Neptune and from the universe saying like, it's okay to heal and do right and be right and do the right thing and live with a more spiritually based existence. And regardless of what we see on the news or what radicals try to make us think, there is no religion that says you should do bad things to other people. They are all in some way based on being a better person. And if we all stepped into that being a better person, the world would be a better place and we would have way less problems. So Neptune and Pluto they're like asking you, are you part of the solution, or are you finding a way to be a victim and part of the problem? And this can be a beautiful thing. Like, it's a good thing to see this and to check yourself and to ask yourself this question. And then, I don't think anybody asks themselves that question and then they're like, oh yeah, no, I do want to be the victim forever. I just rationally don't. If you were to ask yourself in this situation, am I being the victim or am I being the solution? No one wants to say I'm being the victim. And so when we ask ourselves that and we make those changes to find the success that we need to heal and prosper and be better, then success all around. We have something interesting, so we don't always talk about quincunxes and semisextiles because they're minor aspects and they are not as strong in their influence. However, because the Sun and Mercury, pretty sure it's Mercury, let me double check. The Sun is at 23 degrees and Mars is at 22 degrees. 22 degrees. So they are almost exact in their semisextile. So this Sun, Moon, Venus, semisextile to Mercury, Mars, Pales is really about connecting. It's about coming together. It is about community. It's really heightened by the Leo moon because the Leo moon is like, let's have playful, joyous interactions with other people. Let's enjoy who we are and enjoy that interaction of being with other people as they are being genuine and true to who they are. So it's really like let's get together with our community. Let's focus on overcoming obstacles and achieving our goals all together. Let's find community to share in what we enjoy. And with that said, I got to do a little pitch, throw this in here if you are in the Colorado or near Fort Collins. So we have people come from Nebraska and Wyoming. Everybody come on down this Saturday is Fort Collins Pagan Pride. It'll be in Fort Collins City Park. It'll be all day, 9 to 5. There will be food trucks. It's going to be amazing. I got 65 vendors, more than that, but it's going to be great. So come on down and hang out, find some community, be around people, and really enjoy this beautiful world that we live in. I think One last thing is that there's an amazing meteor shower happening right now, so I highly recommend if you're out at night, take a few moments to just stop and look up with the moon being in the dark phase. It can be really visible. I mean, last night I was out at 10 and I saw one just spark through the sky. So they are very predominant right now. And, you know, we don't talk a lot about meteors in astrology, at least I don't see a lot of stuff about it, maybe big meteors. But if you think back thousands of years, the same meteor shower that's happening right now has been happening since the beginning of our universe. And the asteroids and meteors used to be much bigger as they went through this orbit. So major astrological events with meteors impacting the moon and Earth, and I'm sure lots of other planets in the solar system, have happened. And so these times have really marked big change. Um, if you're interested in amazing history and geology, I would check out documentaries with LiDAR. I watched one about specifically the destruction of ancient cities, and they can show that it's probably likely that a meteor hit the Earth and either detonated just in our atmosphere or hit, one hit the black neck right next to the Black Sea and caused people to turn to salt. Anyways, so these big changes have been happening since the beginning of time. So as our ancestors would have seen meteors in the sky, this was probably terrifying. The sky is falling was really scary to think about. And back then, it really did fall. I mean, asteroids hitting the Earth caused dinosaurs to die. It caused half of it caused the Earth to change temperatures in such a dramatic fashion that we went from having ice caps all over to a crazy rise in sea level. So these meteors really are like a representation of major change, big events changing. And I think with everything else that's happening right now in this natal chart, it really focuses on that aspect of change. So, the questions that you need to ask yourself and reflect on today in this dark moon are, what changes do you need to make in order to be healthy? What changes do you need to make in order to stop the generational trauma that happens unintentionally? We don't even realize that it's happening, but it just continues to happen. And it's time to start recognizing that. I know not everybody's a big fan of Jordan Peterson, but sometimes I think he says things that are really, that like people need to hear. And I watched one of his things and he said, if you got up every day and you asked yourself, what is something I am doing wrong and how can I change it? And then really was like, we all know that we do things that are wrong. Everybody. We all have bad habits. We have things we know we shouldn't do. We hit the snooze button on the alarm 5 times and then don't get out of bed when we need to get out of bed, and then we're running late and it offsets your whole day, and it's such a simple task to just hit snooze. Doesn't seem like that. And I should not hit snooze on the alarm clock in the morning, and the first time it goes off, I should get out of bed. Done. We all have little things like that, maybe we watch too much TV, or maybe, we get caught up in those shorts on YouTube. So bad at that. But we all have those things, and we all know that we're doing them. And if we really legitimately got up every day and asked ourselves that question, like, what do I know that I'm doing wrong, and how can I change that? And we just actively did that, big changes. And I think the energy right now with the natal chart is really that energy. It is not only asking you those questions, but it is telling you. Pluto, Neptune, and the interactions of many other things are really like, bam, here is this information. We are telling you, here is the problem. We are putting the problem on the table in front of you. Now, what are you going to do to fix it? And I've said this in other videos, some people are not going to want to stand up and make that change. It's hard to make changes, but you have to realize that with these changes, you're going to come out on the other side and things are going to be easier. It's going to be better. You're going to have this change and it's going to be better. And so this dark moon is really a time to refocus, take a deep breath, see both sides of that coin. We have this positive, beautiful energy that is really encouraging us. It is showing us that there's great abundance, there's great prosperity, there's great things to come if we take that first step, if we begin to heal, if we accept the truths in which we don't want to see and we make the changes that are hard. But it's okay because you got all of the support. You can do this. So that's really the big takeaway from this dark moon. I really hope that this heavy, heavy energy, like, take a deep breath, ground. Allow this earth grand trine to help you stay grounded while the wild fire of all of these fiery planets, like, clear everything out. And just allow those changes to happen. Oh, I just saw a little butterfly. So, with that, I hope everybody has a great day and a blessed dark moon, and realize that the darkness is not a scary place. The changes, the eruptions, the shocking news that you're going to hear is not a bad thing. This is what you need to hear in order to make this productive change, in order to stand up and be that noble warrior for yourself. Like, and do that right thing. And then I know I already said this, I'm going to say it again because it's really important. If everybody was doing that, and they were like, I am acting with kindness and courtesy, I am that noble knight, I'm doing the right thing by myself, like, by myself, not myself, like, what a weird conjunction of words. I'm doing the right thing for myself in order to be the best person that I can be. And we all step out into society and interact with each other with love and kindness, being the best person that we can be, and we would have a beautiful world. So, I hope everybody takes that to heart and really steps out today and is like, I can do this. I can heal. I can do the right thing. And what am I going to do to heal? So, many blessings to you. I hope that you have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you all soon.